Gail Fishman. I was born in Miami, Florida, a long time ago. And I've grown up in Florida, and I've watched it decline over the years, and it's made me very sad. So I had gone to an Audubon meeting one night where they said that they were looking for volunteers at St. Mark's Refuge. And I thought, well, I can do that. So I called down here to set up an appointment. But all the way down, I kept thinking that, they're not going to take me. I don't know anything. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. But I came down anyway. And that's when I met Robin. And I've been here ever since. But really, it starts before then, in about 1984, when my father died. And I needed to come down to this refuge to find a place where I could come to terms with his passing and find some healing in nature. And for me, nature is extremely healing. It's whether you're out walking or just sitting and watching something. And I came out on a levee, much like this one, with my lunch one day in May after my father died. And I sat down on the edge, and there were some grasses around, and I pulled out my sandwich and my water, and then I looked across the water into an island kind of like that. And there were 24 alligators there, pulled out anywhere from about 2 feet long up to a lot bigger. And I just looked at them and I thought, well, they probably don't like peanut butter and jelly, so I'll just continue to eat and everything will be fine. And then I heard rustling in the grass behind me, and I turned around and there was a raccoon. And I said, okay, now you go find your own food. I'm not sharing my sandwich with you. And that was really the beginning of my love affair with this refuge and everything that it had to offer. So I started volunteering down at the visitor center. And when I found out that Joe Ryman was catching red-cockaded woodpeckers and putting bands on them, I pestered him and pestered him and pestered him until he finally let me come out with him at dark 30 in the morning to sit on nests to wait for them to come out, and then come back in an afternoon and sit there with mosquitoes chewing away at you, waiting for them to come back in so we could collect that data. And that's what really, really, really got me started as a volunteer here. Because I wanted hands-on learning. I didn't want to be just somebody who came and just filed stuff or wrote down stuff. I wanted to have some hands-on learning with it. I think that's very important. So Robin kept saying to me, wouldn't it be wonderful if we could sell some t-shirts or something so that we could make enough money to buy buckets for her education program? I'm like, yeah, Robin, that'd be great. And she said, we can't do that unless we have a nonprofit group. And I said, yeah, okay. And she said, we can, Ding Darling has this kind of thing, and they sell the t-shirts and books, and they make a lot of money. And she said, it'd be really nice if we could do that. I said, yeah, it would be, Robin. And then she said, and again, and I finally said, so what do you want me to do? She said, I want you to start a group. So I did. And there you are today. And you have grown 1,000 times bigger than what I ever thought it was going to be. So I'm very proud to have been a part of founding the Friends of St. Mark's Refuge. And so I stayed as a volunteer. I mostly was the treasurer for the group. And I finally said, if I'm going to get out of doing this, I'm going to have to move away. So I went out to Arizona and worked for the National Audubon Society on one of their sanctuaries out there for about 8 months until the job was up. And then I came back. Then I went to California to work for a while, and then I came back. And then I went to work for the Nature Conservancy. And I learned a lot in all those different jobs, but I knew conservation was where I wanted to be. So I got more and more interested in the history of natural history when I was working at the Bluffs Preserve over in Liberty County. And I got very interested because of a man named Angus Bolson. And he told me stories about the early naturalists that came through. And I decided I wanted to write a book about them. So I did. But it was my association with the refuge and association with the Bluffs Preserve that just made it a natural, because a lot of those people were in this area. And I could relate to the landscape that they were in. I could relate to the time period that they were in. And that's what got me started on that. Then, when a position came open here at the refuge many, many years later, and Robin encouraged me to apply for it just as a ranger, a part time ranger. So I did. I never knew I would be here for 12 years, but here I am. Now I'm getting ready to go, and I have a lot planned to do when I leave here. But I'll always be a part of this refuge, and I can't wait to come back as a visitor for a change and start out the way that I used to be.